there, travelers, and welcome to a very short episode of Tales of Teyvat, a Genshin lore podcast. Except today, we're not talking about Genshin lore, and we're really not talking too much about Genshin at all. Today, we're actually here to announce that we've released some playlists for travelers to take a listen to while we're on our hiatus in between seasons that will showcase some of our favorite music from Earth, from Teyvat, and some other special playlists too. So
From Earth.
from Earth, I mean, we mostly talk about Teyvat, right?
It's Alice's favorite place to visit.
Yeah, so Alice has actually taken these playlists and made them into those little disc things that Tiff likes.
So does that mean that she recorded us at KFC?
Oh God, no. We were not caught there. We won't be caught dead at KFC.
Well, we weren't finger looking good that day?
No, we were at Taco Bell.
Oh, okay.
This
Maybe
is
it was
fair.
one of those joint ones.
Yeah, joint Taco Bell KFC.
Yeah, what are they? They're spin crystals. Is that what they're called?
Spin crystals, yeah. I love a spin crystal. I found one the other day and I was so excited because I can't find them in that long.
Can you just imagine like finding a spin crystal like and putting it on and it's just blasting like Beastie Boys? Like what the fuck?
The other day, I was desperate to get like one more primo because I had 159, and I was like done playing. I was like, I have other things to do, but like, come on, I really want to make this one wish because I was close to pity. So I actually went into my teapot and like activated all of my spin crystals, and I didn't get any achievements. I was very upset.
I thought you were gonna say, and all of a sudden I had 2 wishes worth of primo.
It was like, I guess I already did the achievement.
Yeah, it's only like up to a certain amount. Yeah. I think you should get it every time.
Oh God, Tiff's just like, give me more spin crystals.
I don't know what it is. I like get so excited when I see them.
And for travelers who don't know what a spin crystal is, it's those little gold discs that you can find around Teyvat while you're traversing around. And if you find them and you pick them up, you can actually go to your teapot and you can buy a mechanism that will play these discs for you. And so then you can pick like what music is going to play in your teapot based off of these spin discs.
Mm-hmm.
Check them out. Not featured on these spin discs.
On a spin disc. What?
I thought they said spin dick.
You did say spin dick.
Spin Dicks by Tales of Teyvat.
Uh-huh.
A new perfume.
It's a spin crystal.
Spin crystal.
Radiant spin crystal.
That's too long. Spin crystal. Not found on these spin crystals, though, is going to be the playlist we have on Spotify. So if you check out the links we have in the description here or head to our website, talesofteyvatpod.com, you can check them out.
That's not our website.
Talesofteyvatpod.com.
No, it's just talesofteyvat.com.
I'm so used to saying talesofteyvatpod@gmail.com. And I almost said it, too. Just... Tiff says the website, not me. No, you guys both say it.
No, Brandon says it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't say it. So you can check it out in the description of this episode or on our website, Tales of Teyvat Pod. We'll have everything linked to there.
No.
Yes.
No.
Tales of Teyvat. Guys, I'm out of practice. It's not even what I practice.
Maybe just let Brandon say this part.
Head on over to talesofteyvat.com where Feeny and Tiff have curated a lovely playlist for you to listen to and enjoy.
Brandon has too.
Yes, yeah.
So you all have seen the first playlist we ever debuted, which is the Twink Tank playlist.
Are you okay?
Me or Sis?
Drinking the fireball?
No, I know I didn't drink anything today. So, our favorite playlist that's probably on there, and the first one that we've ever showcased the world was our Twink Tank playlist. So you can still find that there. For travelers who don't know, Twink Tank is the gay club I own for twinks.
In Port Ormos.
In Port Ormos, in the lighthouse. Aventurine is the manager, and Kaveh is like the assistant manager. I run a tight shift there. There's a lot of events that happen. Check out our schedule somewhere online. Learn more.
Did you say tight shift?
Yeah.
Tight ship.
Tight ship. I run a tight ship there. All right. Adventuring isn't allowed to have ratio over until after midnight. There's a lot of events that we have going on. Kaveh and Alhaitham are not allowed to fight, which is really hard while Kaveh's working. It's a lot of fun. If you're interested in checking out the Twink Tank playlist, that's playlist numero uno. The second playlist that you could check out on there is our Tales of Teyvat Hoyo Mix picks. So some of our favorite music that is showcased in Genshin. We each picked somewhere between 10 and 20 songs, I think. Some of us were more zealous than others.
It was hard.
So some of us can't follow the rules.
No. And some of us stole other people's songs. Tiff.
Hey, I've been done first. Whatever.
Definitely check that out. I know at least on my end, you'll be hearing a lot of Dragonspine, some dubstep.
No, I stole the dubstep. Sorry.
She did steal the dubstep from me, but I'm taking it as a personal pick. It's on both of our lists.
Yes.
And I have beautiful ballad-esque, melodic, lovely in the sky and underwater anthems.
Ooh, I like that. In the sky, under the sea, wherever your heart will be.
I kept listening to mine to make sure it made it cohesive, like in the order it was in, like it all made sense. And it's very melodic and dramatic. And of course, Rumeria is in there, even though Hoyo didn't want to put it in the Genshin concert.
Not that you're bitter.
No, not at all. I never mentioned it too. I don't know if anybody knows that I was upset about that.
I thought Tiff was really happy with everything. Man, I had no idea. Yeah, mine is not put together. Mine is probably not melodic. It's like, let's ghost hunt with Hu Tao, and then let's go to Dragonspine and freeze our asses off, and then fight with Child. It's great. Next on the playlists, we have the Genshin Villains playlist, which I said Twink Tank was all of our favorites. That's probably bullshit. The Genshin Villains playlist is my personal favorite. It's been something that we've been working on for a while, so I'm really happy to have it out there. And there's a song for every major world boss, trounce boss, just baddie in general. And if you go to the description, you can actually find a link back to the website that will tell you every villain's song. So if you're like, oh, this would be a great song for like Pantalone, you can look and see if it's actually his song.
But before you go and look, definitely try and figure them out.
Yeah.
Some of them are very obvious. And well, at least we think some of them are very obvious.
Yeah.
Make it a little quiz. It's fun.
Yeah, I'd love to know too, like what ones you think are good or bad. But like I said, like we normally say, you can leave like any bad opinions on it with Albedo. Just let him know that you don't like the song, and he'll let me know like next year. And lastly on the playlists, we have playlists based on each of our own musical preferences. So you have B's beats, Tiff's tunes, and Fiends' faves. I love alliteration, if you can't tell. So there's a little bit of each of our musical tastes in there. So I think something really important to note is that we all love music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think any of us could exist without music.
Yeah. It's always been a big deal in my life. You know, I remember being a little kid and finding my dad's The Who's Tommy record and making him play it for me on the record player because I was like fascinated by it. And my parents aren't really even that big into music, but they just were, he was very specific about things he liked like that. And because I'm really old, he still had 8 tracks. So that was my favorite thing to do is put the 8-track in. And I want to say I listened to Carly Simon, You're So Vain, more than anybody ever should have.
So what type of vibe can someone expect, like going in and listening to your playlist? What are we looking at?
I'm very into like indie pop. And sometimes I go like a little more alternative. And then other times I lean the other direction and go a little more mainstream pop. That gets more and more rare. But my playlist is very inspired by freedom, like the themes of freedom. There's some some nods to timey-wimey shit. There's stuff about celestial beings, things in the underground, God, and this idea of getting back to yourself, which I think is another theme in Genshin. So I tried to like use indie pop songs that I thought were very lyrically relevant, sort of like the Villains playlist. Mine it's a little on the nose on purpose, where it's like, can you guess who I'm talking about with this song choice?
Oh, all right.
But it's also a lot of my musical taste is very female singer-songwriter-esque. So, there are, I think, 4 male vocalists out of my 10 tracks, but there are definitely more women and more strong in your face women on my playlist, because that tends to be how my musical tastes are.
Okay. And who's your favorite artist?
Tori Amos, who I
Yes.
grew up listening to and will love forever. That's just like my ultimate always, always.
I just wanted to hear you say it. I knew the answer.
Yeah.
And what about you, Tiff?
Mine is I tried to stay to what I've been just listening to a lot now, which is probably what I've been listening to for the past 15 years, as I noticed, because most of it was like 2010s and on. But I'm very much into alt and emo and screamo and stuff like that. But I also dabble into the side of some alt indie, I guess you can kind of say. I don't think they go full indie like B does, but a little bit onto that mainstreamy kind of a side too, I guess. A little bit.
Mhm.
Nah, probably not. A little bit of mainstream. But I was trying to go through it and think of like, okay, these are just like, this is the playlist I would listen to daily kind of a thing. And then I threw in like a 90s song and then a current song just for the heck of it. I was like, I need something. I need to like either throw it, because I was like, at one point I was like, oh my God, I'm like, these are all like, should I put all my 90s stuff that I love? And I was like, no. But I was like, let me at least put in some Smashing Pumpkins. But yeah, it's mainly a nice little kind of a range of those, I would say.
Now, do you have a favorite artist, Tiff?
I do. It tends to change a little bit in life, and it's slightly changed a little bit because I haven't liked the direction they've gone in their last album, but I love 30 Seconds to Mars.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would also like on some days you could ask me that and I'll be like, it's Alkaline Trio 1000%.
Okay. My playlist is a shithole. It's a really big conglomerate of things that I've listened to over the years. So,
Did you call it a shithole?
yes.
Why that word?
Because it doesn't all match.
Okay. You just think it's a little messy.
It's messy. Like, it's not a beautiful laid out playlist in that you have to listen to in the specific order type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're gonna start with like a pop punk song, and then you're gonna move on to a pop song, and then you're gonna be depressed, and then you're gonna find K-pop. It's a little bit of everything. I am actually the opposite of Brandon, where I really prefer a male voice. There are some female voices on mine. I'm a big like Olivia Rodrigo fan. I like MXMtoon, stuff like that, but mostly male voices. I like it. I hope that others like it, but it's definitely a little bit of everything. Spotify has described my taste before as goblin core. So good luck with that.
What exactly? Goblin core.
What is goblin core, right? That was my question as well. Do you want to know how they explain goblin core?
Yeah. How do they explain it?
It's an aesthetic and subculture that celebrates nature and the less conventional aspects of the natural world.
Okay.
Now, that's definitely
That
not
does
my
not
playlist.
sound like you.
No, it's
No.
definitely not the playlist at all. So I'm confused. I wonder if like to Spotify Goblin Core just means like you stay up late and listen to music.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that like male emo granola music? Is that what that means?
Maybe. A lot of my music in the last year or two has definitely been influenced by writing. So depending on what I'm writing, I will listen to like a specific playlist. Like I have a playlist that I listen to when I'm writing my Nat story. I have a playlist I listen to when I'm writing 911 fan fiction, when I'm writing for like Tinyari fan fiction that I've written a few of those. I wonder if that's affected it too. I'm not sure.
Yeah. If you use Spotify, you might be familiar with the day lists, which are my favorite thing. And it puts together what you've been listening to like on those days and stuff like that. One that repeats a lot for me is Overthinking Depressed Sesh. I'm like, wow, thanks Spotify. Thanks for calling me out.
When I was cleaning earlier, my day list was venting cottagecore Sunday. And I was like, okay, again, what does that mean? But
Yeah.
cool.
It's very funny. It's interesting how they do that. Little algorithms.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys one more question before we let everyone listen in. Are you big concert goers outside of the Genshin Impact Orchestra concerts?
I am. I mean, I don't know if I would say big, but I've been to a lot of them.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of concerts. COVID's changed me a bit and I'm not huge into big crowds anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of has like, my friend told me about a a show that was coming up like next weekend, and like the first thing he was like, "Oh, he's like, you would love it." He's like, "I'm not going," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going." It was like a shared music that we both love, and we were both like, "Yeah, I'll just listen to it online." But I do, like I said, 30 Seconds to Mars is one of my favorite bands, and a friend of mine is also a huge fan, and we would go to all the concerts. Like, she lived down near Philly and I'm up here near New York, and we would go to both places to all the shows and stuff. And then she moved to Arizona, and I literally FaceTimed her from from like the Mercury Lounge in the city. So I always go, I'm like, maybe it's because I don't have my concert buddy with me anymore, because I used to see a lot of stuff with her.
That makes
But
sense.
I've been going to concerts since I was 12, I think.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Having an older sister helped move that along, and a cousin / godmother who is huge into music and huge into U2. So she was like, let's bring the girls to the concert.
Do you guys have like a favorite concert that you've been to?
Well, I would have to choose like ones that are not Tori, because I've been to so many Tori concerts.
Oh, I really thought you were going to say the Tori one that you sat next to me and that she was just on piano. You had a romantic evening with me.
Oh yeah, at
You forgot all about it.
La Poisson Rouge.
Yes.
You were in Poisson?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Navia was there. Navia was there, and a string quartet. Or no, it was an octet, a string octet. That was a really good show, actually.
It was.
But my favorite Tori show was when I was like much younger and had more energy and was right up against the stage, and she had a full band. But many years ago, I went to this Patty Griffin concert that was incredible. I've been to some really good St. Vincent shows and Perfume Genius, Sharon Van Etten. Those are like very high on my list as well. Oh, and my very first concert, which was Sarah McLachlan.
Oh my God.
And it was fantastic. And Lisa Loeb opened for her.
I love that.
That is so good. I would say that my favorite concert was in a more recent concert, I would say, to kind of like segment them into decades, I guess, was a 30 Seconds to Mars one, but it was because Linkin Park opened up for them. It was the first time I had ever seen them live, and I was blown away by how fantastic their live show was. But it was also the same way when I saw Nine Inch Nails. Again, I couldn't believe how, and I had been to a lot of shows, and that one was like in like an amphitheater, and it was still fantastic. They sounded so good. So I really enjoyed those, just for those reasons of just being kind of surprised and happily, like, I just really enjoyed it because of that.
That's awesome.
What about you?
I don't know. I was thinking about that. I really have enjoyed. I went to a lot of like music festivals, not like the big ones. I used to go to Firefly, which is in Delaware. It's probably like the smallest of the big festivals, and I feel like anyone I've ever seen there has been such a good time. But it's also the like atmosphere of the concerts. Like, I saw Panic at the Disco there. I saw the Bleachers, the 1975. They were all a lot of fun. But one of my favorite bands is Mayday Parade, and I got to see them in Philly. They were doing a anniversary tour for their self-named album, and I almost died. It was just so cool to go and see that live. And I also saw this band Lydia once at like a very small bar. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a bar, but they had a venue in the bar. Yeah. And so you had to go into the back to see them. And it's the only time I've ever been to a concert in a place like that. But it was so good. They're like a more low-key band. They're probably more goblin core. And so it was really fun to get to see them too. And I really enjoyed, I saw, what the fuck is their names? Capital Cities once at a different festival, and I didn't expect to like them as much as I did live, so that was a really good time. I feel like a lot of times for me, concerts are made by who you're with.
Yeah.
So I've always had fun at them.
I love going to little shows in some of the smaller venue type places. I'm huge Lemonheads fan. I have been for probably the majority of my life. And the first time I got to see them was live in a very small little place over in Hoboken, and it was so great. And I got to see them there again like 2 other times, and then some other really, really small places where a friend shoved me to the front. So this way I was like right up. I was literally first, which usually I don't do because I'm tall. So I always try and like shy to the side or to the back. And he was just like, nope. And then he grabbed the set list for me, and it's in my closet, my little cabinet.
Meanwhile, I'm short. So when I get pushed to the front, I'm like, yay, I can see. Always very excited. Awesome. Well, travelers, we hope that you enjoy these playlists and we hope that they're able to hold you over a little bit, maybe, especially the villains playlist and the Hoyo Mix faves to get a little Genshin in us out of it. If you want, you can totally ignore these as well. It won't hurt our feelings. But we hope it's something to keep you going until season 6. Season 6 will air April 2nd, as long as the Fatui doesn't take us down in the meantime.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I feel like the Fatui gets closer and closer to the tri-state area every day.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to catch up on some past episodes, you can go to Spotify or you can visit our website, talestotavat.com, where you can check out some of our past episodes and some of our special things we have like this. You can also join us on Discord by going to bit.ly/shades-of-Teyvat, all lowercase, no spaces. It's an 18+ server where you can come and tell us what you think of our playlists, tell us about your musical taste, talk Genshin lore, Star Rail lore, and anything else in between. You can follow us on Instagram, Tales of Teyvat Pod, or on Twitter, Tales of Teyvat. We are also on Blue Sky and Threads under the same names. And you can follow us on YouTube as well. Same name. Everything's the same, basically. Until April 2nd, or the Fatui takeover of Tales of Teyvat, stay safe, travelers. We'll see you next time.
Bye, Rhythm Nation.
You are part of the rhythm. I can't sing a song. That was terrible. That was so bad.
No, it wasn't.
Keep
Fine.
going.
It's not like Janet can sing that.